Hi, it's OSU Aero Nerd. I'm sitting here trying to find a more efficient way for you to land your rovers on other planets with or without atmospheres. The problem is every time you need to use Delta V to get a rover down onto the Moon, onto the Mars, or excuse me, Duna, whichever planet you're going to, you have to burn a bunch of fuel, which then you have to carry into space. It takes more fuel to carry the fuel, and then you have to accelerate the fuel. It culminates, leading to the classic phrase, more boosters. So, what we're going to do here is show you a novel way that I have invented. I haven't seen this anywhere else. Maybe it exists. There's probably a name out there on the internet for this already, but that'd be kind of cool if I made something new. To me, it's original. I thought this up myself. Doesn't mean somebody else hadn't already thought of it as well. So we have a typical rocket here just to get our little test piece into orbit, because that's where you're going to be. This isn't to get things into space. This isn't to put things back into orbit, especially around planets with an atmosphere. This is only to deorbit payloads, like specifically for the case of moons, or where you have a heavy return vehicle staying in orbit, but you're sending a lander down that is relatively lightweight. This is a rocket. Key components are the fact that this is our vehicle, their lander. We're going to put this into orbit around Kerbin and send this little guy back down. Notice he has no RCS, no rockets, no anything. Nothing on there except a parachute, which the parachute's not going to do you any good in space, but we just put that on there so our little Kerbal, it's going to be inside, doesn't die. Next important component, in fact this is kind of the key to the whole thing, is the winch. This is the KAS winch. I think that's the mod that I used. Anyway, you can open up the config file if you need to know how to do that. In Config Editor, it allows you to go into kind of the winch setup menu. You'll see me do this later on, but it's important that before you start the game, you actually enable the config menu for those winches, because you'll need to be able to make a long cable. We're not changing anything. We're not adding a high-power winch. We're not using elastics. We're just putting a longer cable on the winch. I think we'll do about 50 to 100 meters or so, and that might be sufficient. This is our lander that has most of the Kerbals in it. I do have MechJeb on here just because I like the telemetry. I like know how much Delta V, because it's not really about the rocket getting up there. It's about the system once we have it in orbit. I have 4 ASAS units. You could do this with 1. I just put multiples on there because it will make this faster. And of course, plenty of RCS fuel for this guy. I don't even think I really need it, but it's always good to have RCS. Decoupler, then just this is our booster to get us into space. So, to the launch pad. Okay, we're just going to send one guy up there, Jovi Kerman. He's really stupid, so he won't see this coming. In fact, here's somebody dumber. Let's root him. Okay, loading. Loading? That's kind of funny. All right, so anyway, to the launch pad. That's where you wait. So where the loading times are slower in 0.21. I'm sorry, squad. I love you. I really do. This game's fun. I'm asleep. Okay, here we are. So we have a total of like 4,795 meters a second of vacuum Delta V. That should be plenty to get us into orbit. I've already explained the rocket to you. I've got MechJeb enabled for ascent guidance. We're going to go to 100 kilometer equatorial orbit. Limiting terminal velocity, blah, blah, blah. Standard stuff. Let's engage that and go! Well, damn. Oh gosh, no. Success? Successful? Yes, I think so. Yep. Oh gosh, no. Oh, well, way to mess that up. All right, fine. We'll do this again. Okay, so good. Engage autopilot and go. Ah, much better. See ya. Winning. Look, circular. Yay. All right, so we are definitely in orbit at this point. Now, I'm just doing this as a proof of concept. I will leave it to the rest of Reddit and the rest of Kerbal to use this in more useful ways, because you can see how this system could easily be used for a moon landing, for getting something down to Mars, without having to carry all sorts of fuel up there with you. So, let's turn off stability augmentation system, and you'll pretty quickly see how I'm going to achieve this. Oh, need to turn on a few menus first. Let's turn on the config and the GUI. This config allows you to go into the winch, and I need, let's go ahead and make it a maximum of 100 meters of cable. I don't think I'll use that much, but we have it if we need it. Again, to enable that config menu, you have to go into the KAS config menus for the winch, the CFG files, and it's just, you uncomment some lines in there. They already have the lines there, they just hide it for the moment. So anyway, we have this. This allows us to extend and retract our actual winch, so let's go ahead and spin this guy up like I said. Now, so that's pretty normal, but we extend this winch. What you see is we have separation. Now, I have done nothing to the KAS mod. That is a loose, normal cable. It's not just being held that way because of tension. And you can see if I continue using my SAS systems to accelerate the rotation, keeps tension on the part, we keep spinning around our CG, and you can quickly see how I'm going to end up deorbiting this. So we just keep extending the cable, and every time we extend this, you'll see the rotation slows. Well, that's because of conservation of angular momentum. We're increasing the moment of inertia of the system, so to maintain angular momentum, it slows down. So we're at what, 20 meters? Start spinning this up again. See, oh, you get some weird kind of dynamics. Maybe I extended that a little bit too much all at once. Oh no, this might be bad. This could be terrible. So you can kind of see the theory. I'm basically just going to spin this up, keeping that cable taut. So while my CG of the ship travels at orbital velocity of 2,246 meters per second, if we release this little lander where that Kerbal is at the appropriate time, he will make it back down to Earth. He will be deorbited. Because we're spinning pretty quick. I suppose you could use RCS to give yourself another additional boost. You could use a side-mounted rocket to really try to accelerate things here. But the nice benefit of this is you can deorbit something, leaving your return vehicle in orbit to rendezvous back with. Obviously, you have to carry the fuel down for the ascent, but it saves you half your gas, which that's half the lander weight that you don't have to launch off the planet to begin with. So let's see if this is enough. I haven't really done the math. I don't know my rotational speed. I just don't know. Maybe there's a plugin that tells you the rotational speeds. I don't know it, so we're just gonna say this will be good. Moment of truth. Let's see if it works. He's gone. He's gone that way. Did he go far enough? I don't know. Let's turn on SAS on this ship. Let's retract our winch, which is still orbiting the ship violently. As a happy little Kerbin in it. Let's enable SAS, and we'll see that we are, in fact, going back to Kerbin! I've done it! I've deorbited. No rockets whatsoever. We are going back. We can sit here and move ourselves around. In fact, we need to go retrograde. Because somehow this side of our tin can is more heat resistant than the rest. Ah, yes, be happy, little loading Kerman. You're going back home. So, aha, success. Deorbiting, no rockets, no fuel, nothing. In fact, I didn't even have to be all that precise about where I released. As long as I was heading back in that general direction, it kind of worked. And I was somewhat impatient. I only released, what was it, 40 meters of cable? And again, I also don't know about the maximum rotational speed of the ASAS modules. And for some of you who are saying, oh, you're just using ASAS, you're just abusing you're abusing an OP system. Yeah, that's kind of true. Right now, ASAS is pretty powerful. But you can easily do this with any sort of motor, any sort of electrical driven actuator. You just have to have the inertial mass operating or spinning the opposite direction, so your total angular momentum stays at 0. The nice thing about using this for a lightweight and heavyweight lander and return vehicle is that your center of rotation stays very close to your heavy return vehicle, because the CG is biased on that end of the cable. That allows you to keep tension easily, and all the ASAS modules or other acceleration devices you might have on it stay on that. You get this thing spinning enough with a long enough cable, you could certainly maybe throw something at the moon using this technique. You do a moon shot with just kinetics. So anyway, blah blah blah, boring, boring, boring. As you can see, the lander portion is still in orbit. The Flinger lander, it is staying in a circle. In fact, it would be accelerated somewhat by the release of this other vehicle, because the total momentum stays 0. So at release, you can see that happens somewhere about there. Yes, this is that's the circular orbit we left from. So the testing rotary Flinger is leaving. This is KSC. Missed that by a little. That's fine. I wasn't really aiming for it. We are going home though. Let's just speed this up a little bit because I'm bored. Bored. Chute is open. Just have a few feet left. I'm bored. This is slow. Down, 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 down. 500 feet. 500 meters. Feet, meters, whatever. SI. So, hopefully I will see this used in other people's wonderful creations. I like just generating the ideas. You guys go take this out into space, and let's see what awesome things you can do. How far can you fling a Kerbal? How fast can you send them off? I'm excited. This is great. It saves you weight. It saves you mass. You can build rockets that are more capable with smaller stuff. You don't have to lift as many tons anymore. There we are! He's safe. Let's go swimming. Yay! Oh, wait. Okay, yep. We're good. Alright. Like I said, have fun. Don't get eaten by sharks. We will be back there sometime. The end!